Hey, folks, and welcome back to The Straight Shift. One of the fun parts, at least for me, of buying a new car is picking the color that you want, the one that best suits your personality and makes you smile every time you look at your new ride. I do have an old podcast as well as a YouTube video that talks about what the color of your car says about your personality. So I'll put links to both of those in the description if you want to check them out. There's a whole psychology behind it. But gone are the days of you can have a car painted in any color you want as long as it's black, paraphrasing Henry Ford. Not only do they make cars in just about every color of the rainbow today, but they have these special metallic paints that literally sparkle in the sunlight. And recently they've come out with these new matte paint colors that are very popular, especially the matte grays. I have a lot of clients ask about those new matte colors and how well they hold up over time. And unfortunately, I also frequently see car owners complaining about the paint on their brand new car. It's got swirls in it, straight from the dealership, or orange peel, after just a few months of driving. So they call me to ask, why is this happening to my brand new car? It didn't happen on my old car. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about why modern car paints suck. What does that mean for you as a car owner? And what can you do to keep your new car from looking like a Jackson Pollock painting? Let's get into it. I don't claim to be an expert on car paint or on detailing. My Mini Cooper is fully wrapped for my business and brand, so I haven't even seen the paint on my car in a good 10 years. So anytime I have questions or one of my clients has questions about how to keep your car clean, how to protect it, I call my detail guy, Jonathan Stevens of Carolina's Finest Detailing in Monroe, North Carolina, better known as Dr. Swirl Killer. Hey, John, welcome to The Straight Shift.
Hey, Leanne, it's been a while. Hope you're well.
I am. Before we get into talking about why car paint colors absolutely suck today, tell us a little bit about just quickly how you got into the car detailing business.
Yeah, well, getting into cars was just something that happened from a young age. I got into detailing actually before I got into cars. My dad drove this really huge, Peterbilt growing up, and the only way to really be able to spend time with him was helping him clean it. And just through the years, I was always very interested in how to make this more efficient because it sucked. In the Louisiana sun in the summer, sweating. And so just from there, it progressed into learning how to wash cars and that. And through that, I became a car person. I really enjoyed making paint sparkle and making vehicles look really good. And so in some way, shape, or form, I've been doing detailing since I was a 10, 11, 12-year-old.
Slave labor, basically. But hey, you've turned it into a great business.
Yeah, and funny story, detailing wasn't my profession of choice. In my old life, I was an IT guy.
You
Through
and me both,
college,
man. You and me both.
yeah,
We all
I hear it
escaped corporate
often.
America.
Yeah, I put myself through college, washing cars and that, and even when I was in IT as a side gig, detailing was car part money.
Car part money is key, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell me, what is it? Why does it seem like modern car paints just aren't like they used to be? I mean, when I was doing the Rust Rescue TV show on the old classic cars, even things that we would rescue from a field or somebody's barn to restore, you would still have to spend days and days
hmm
sanding off that old paint. And now it seems like you can sneeze on it and it's just gone. What changed?
So over these last, let's say 10, 11 years, as auto manufacturers have made that transition into water-based systems, and then the costs of everything has gone up. You remember cash for clunkers, right?
Oh, painfully, yes, painfully.
Well, ever since then, new car pricing has gone up, used car pricing has gone up, and so manufacturers have tried to find ways to cut corners to keep prices somewhat competitive, and one of those ways was thinning the finish. And
Wait, let me
water-based
put on my shocked face here.
and these newer water-based systems, they look amazing, right? Like, these deep new pearl paints and, the BMW and Mercedes frozen finishes, they look amazing,
They do.
but they are thinner than ever. They're more fragile, than ever before, unfortunately.
Well, the water-based paints are just softer in texture, so they just don't get that hard finish that the old lacquer paints or, our good old lead-based paints
Yeah.
used to do. So it makes sense. I mean, I know we used to measure the depth of the paint on a car when we would go to auction to buy used cars. We'd have a paint meter and we would measure the depth of the paint all around the car to see if any panels had been repainted.
Hmm.
And we used to see a normal reading on a car that had not been repainted was between 4 to 6 mils. And now it's maybe 2 to 3. So it's a good half the thickness that it used to be.
And it's getting even harder now. Now you need to have a really specialty paint meter to read these, thin aluminum skins, and the paint is so thin everywhere. That's the other thing. We're seeing this. A lot of people nowadays really notice that orange peel effect even more now because of how thin the paint is.
What causes that orange peel? I used to think it was just because the environment they painted the car in was not
Hmm.
perfectly clean. Like normally when you paint a car, especially at a factory, that room has to be like a surgical room. It has to be absolutely pristine because any little microscopic pieces of dust, even air moisture, God forbid any oils from your skin, anybody painting cars has to scrub down like a surgeon and keep that room clean, or you would get that texture in the paint because of the impurities. But what I would think the rooms are still clean now. So why are we seeing so much more orange peel?
Well, so the rooms being clean actually doesn't have any effect on the orange peel.
Really?
The rooms being clean is what helps prevent, the little dirt nibs and the fish eyes, the impurities you see in the finish. Contrary to popular belief, paint doesn't lay 100% flat when it's sprayed and once it's cured. So that orange peel effect is basically just how the finish after it's sprayed, it's still somewhat bumpy in essence, which gives you that orange peel effect. That effect can be removed, right, by wet sanding, rotary buffing, and stuff like that. And that's something that, I do often on a lot of these nicer rest of my cars and show cars. But that's definitely something I don't recommend on a lot of your new vehicles, especially if it's going to be daily driven.
Yeah, because it's not gonna put you put a wet sander on it and boom, it's like it's gone. Now you're down to
Yeah.
the metal again.
Yeah. It's like a lot of times I'll get clients in for scratch repair. And, generally, I don't really like going anywhere more aggressive than 2000 grit sandpaper to remove any scratches unless we're going to put paint protection film over that area. Just because once you sand that one time, you've already really thinned that paint out.
Yeah, and they're only doing like a single layer of paint, it looks like in the factories. They used to put multiple layers on and the
Hmm.
multiple layers of clear coat. So just so people understand kind of what the process looks like at the factory, and obviously every manufacturer has different ways of painting cars, but the way it's done mostly today, especially since we are talking about using water-based paints, more environmentally friendly, not just paints, but ways of applying the paints to reduce the CO2 emissions. So it's definitely not the way it used to be, and it's all robotic now for the most part.
Oh,
But
yeah.
when the car body, the unibody is put together and you just have your raw metal that's now car shaped and they weld everything. Then they take that through and they have to clean the heck out of it to get any impurities, any metal dust, anything off the car. And then they put it into a bath of primer. It's a rust resistant primer and it's often done as a bath and it's done to where the paint adheres to the metal using electricity. And I'll probably could do a whole podcast just explaining that process. It's really interesting. They
It is.
basically put it in a bathtub and then throw in a hair dryer. All the things we're told not to do in a bathtub, that's how they get the paint to stick to the metal. It's kind of cool. And then they'll go through and put the sealer on all the seams. This is sort of like caulking if you've ever done any work around your house with baseboards and trim. And then they will put on a middle layer of paint. This is kind of the undercoating. So it's either white or a light gray or a dark gray, depending on how vibrant or how deep they want that final paint color to be. Then they'll do the final actual color of the car and a clear coat. But it's just not that many layers. And as you said, the paints themselves are so thin that it's no wonder that these paints are not holding up over time.
Absolutely.
Now, what about these new matte paints? They're so popular right now. I personally like them because I kind of like it, just gives it a little bit of a badass look. I love the flat grays, but there is some concern about how will those hold up over time. How are they different and why might they not last as long?
Yeah, I especially love BMW has a frozen blue
Ooh, yeah, that
that
one's
is
really
so
pretty.
beautiful and it looks really amazing on some of their cars. So the big difference about these matte finishes is if you get a scratch, we can't touch it up and we can't wet sand or buff the vehicle in any way, shape, or form. So that's the biggest drawback in essence in buying a car like that compared to, an everyday car that has a regular gloss clear. If you get a scratch in the parking lot, we can, touch it up, wet sand it, do our best to make it look like it never happened. You can't do anything like that on these frozen and these matte finishes.
So
So
they
I
don't
always,
have that clear coat on the top. Do they not have a clear coat at all, or is it more of a matte clear coat that's just not as durable?
it's a matte clear coat
Okay.
rather than a gloss. And so if you polish it, it's going to turn a weird color.
Yeah,
I've actually,
it's gonna kind of look like an oily finish or something because part of it
yes,
got glossy and part of it's not.
yes. So as far as like everyday care, that's the biggest difference. You can still, wash it, you ceramic coat it, put paint protection film on it. We have matte paint protection film, for these cars. I always tell my clients if you're going to buy a car with a matte finish and you're going to daily drive it, at least PPF as many of the high wearing areas as you can, because like I said, they can't if it gets chips, we can't touch it up, we can't buff it.
And I recommend to people, if you're driving anything every day and you want to keep the paint looking nice, you need to absolutely put some sort of additional product on it. So, now you're spending even more money on a car that's, gotten too expensive in the first place. But with these paints not being of the same quality and not being applied the same way, it's going to reduce the resale value of the car because it's just not going to look as nice. We want to get as much out of the car as possible, especially if it's leased and you're trying to do the lease turn in and they're trying to ding you for every little stupid thing. It's
Hmm.
important to keep the car protected because we're just not getting that from the factory. Thank you very much. Now, talk to me about ceramic coating versus the paint protection film. What does each one do and when do you need which one? Because I think it creates a lot of confusion with people not understanding the difference.
Yeah. So paint protection film, think of it as a thick, clear sticker, right? And that sticker goes on high wearing areas of your vehicle. So if you daily drive your vehicle that sees a lot of highway, areas you'd want to put that film would be like your front bumper, your hood, your fenders, your headlights, maybe A pillars, rocker panels, areas that would be really susceptible to damage from road debris every day while daily driving. So PPF's main job is to prevent damage from rock chips and road debris.
So they would actually put the little dings in the film and not actually go all the way through and put those dings in your paint. Gosh, I remember when
Correct.
I had a 2005, what was that? Oh yeah, it was the Infinity sports car. I don't know why I had a blank on that. But of course, black. And literally on the way home from the dealership, some truck kicked up a rock and put a nice old chip right above my windshield. Like the car literally had 22 miles on it, and that happened. I was like, oh. And that's not a place you normally put film, but it's just so frustrating when that happens, to your brand new car. But, I got used to the front of my cars that I took on the track looking like they had been constantly sandblasted because they were sandblasted. But, you know, we didn't bother putting PPF on our track cars, but it's so easy to get that just from driving every day because our roads are just, especially with all the construction that we have going on, there's
Mm.
so much crap that your car literally does end up looking like it went through a wind tunnel with a sandstorm. It's crazy.
And the amount of construction vehicles on the road, especially in our Charlotte area, every day. Um, I posted an image on my Facebook like a year ago of just the back of a dump truck and said, if this is your nightmare, you need PPF.
Absolutely. Well, now what about the ceramic coatings?
Yeah, so Think of a ceramic coating as a wax on steroids, right? So the ceramic coating goes on the whole exterior of the vehicle, and we can ceramic coat the paint, plastics, we can even ceramic coat glass. A ceramic coating lasts for years, whereas a wax would only last for months. Ceramic coating gives you an amazing gloss, and coating is hydrophobic or hydrophilic, meaning it beads water really well or it sheets water really well. And what that means is your vehicle stays cleaner longer. And a ceramic coating is very chemical resistant. So it's a sacrificial layer protecting your car from the sun, bird poop, bugs, tar, sap, which is common here, all the pine trees in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so those properties just make the vehicle really easy to clean. So every 3 months, you're not out there having to wax your car. Wash it and go. It's protected. It has an amazing gloss, and it just helps maintain your value. We have specialty coatings designed for wheels and calipers. If you have a Mercedes, BMW, any type of luxury vehicle with those big soft brakes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ceramic, if you ceramic coat your wheels and your painted calipers, it makes cleaning them so much easier.
Oh gosh, because one of the worst things to try and get off of cars, the wheels, is brake dust that
Yep.
has now been caked onto that metal from the heat. That's why I have gray wheels on my car, because it hides the brake dust so much better.
You're one of
Not that
those
I use the
lazy
brakes a
people.
lot on my car. I think brakes are for sissies, but
Yeah, it's amazing technology. It's an investment into keeping your car looking good. I mean, look, we are keeping our vehicles so much longer now.
yeah.
Look, we have car loans for what, 72 and 84 months now. Vehicles are more expensive than ever, and your finish is more fragile than ever before. So it makes sense to at least make an investment into at least a ceramic coating to protect your car and just make it easy to clean. That's the biggest thing. And vehicles are so big now. I'm 6'2". I have all the proper platforms. I've got the pressure washer. I've got all the setup. And the time it takes me to clean, a large pickup truck or an SUV, and I'm very efficient at it. So I imagine people in their driveway trying to maintain these vehicles. That's why a coating just makes your life so much easier.
Absolutely. I mean, not everybody has the luxury of just, cleaning a little Mini Cooper, which I actually have not been very good about lately. So,
Tisk tisk.
but I mean, yeah, we don't have the time. And if you're going to be investing, especially if you're getting, a luxury car, you decide you get one of those cool flat paints, you're already spending, 40, 50, 60 plus $1,000 on the car. Spending a couple more grand to get that paint protected, I think is totally worth it. I do want to ask though, because a lot of the dealers have been, they love to put all their dealer added accessories, their
Hmm.
little addendums on the car to jack up the price. And one of the things that I'm commonly seeing now is they are putting what they call their little protection products. And for many dealers, it is a ceramic coating. Are the stuff that the dealer's putting on the car, is that worth anything? Or is it just more smoke and mirrors crap and it's a junk product and inexpertly applied? Is it even worth what they're charging for it?
I'll be honest with you, it's definitely not worth what they're charging for it, especially because they're not prepping the car like a professional detail shop is going to ensure proper adherence of that product. It's let's call it a money grab, right?
Of
We
course.
all know that nitrogen in your tires doesn't cost $200 to $300.
No, at least
We
it's
all know,
useful, but it does not cost that much money.
yeah, all these things. It's the dealers right now are having to find other ways to make money on the vehicle. So because ceramic is such a hot term and a hot word now, they're jumping into it. And I'll be honest with you, it's nothing like you would get from a professional detail shop. Matter of fact, there are a lot of amazing over-the-counter coatings available. We have a lot of DIY people out there. There are a lot of far better products out there that you can buy yourself and apply compared to what a dealership's putting on your vehicle.
Again, let me put on my shocked face. One of the things that we always talk about, and you and I, when we're joking around, and of course, my nephew owns a detail shop in Hendersonville, North Carolina, and he complains about it all the time. GM black paint. Like,
Ugh.
what? It is universally known as the absolute worst paint in the entire automotive industry. But why is that? Is it that the GM paint in general is just so bad and the black just makes it worse because it shows everything? Or is there something just extra special crappy about GM black paint? What's up with that?
All right, now before I go on a rant, I just want to make it clear that I love black vehicles. I don't have any issue with them, but I hate black vehicles.
Now, is that all black vehicles or is it like really specifically GM black
Okay, the
vehicles?
GM black vehicles I love, and I have no idea why GM black paint. There it is. So 9 out of 10 inquiries I get, clients that have hoods and roofs failing that are black paint. It's a Suburban, a Yukon, a GMC, a GM product.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen on the internet there are people like GM apparently knows about it, dealerships know about it, there's threads about it. Some people are able to successfully get it fixed. I don't know. It's crap.
It is crap. It's absolute
It's
crap.
crap. It's the softest black paint on the market. Black in general is just a really hard color to maintain, right?
It is.
It's very soft. When it's clean and polished, there's no color that looks better. But maintaining that finish is really difficult. And black paint, unlike a lot of your darker color paint, absorbs heat,
Right.
whereas your brighter colors, reflect light. I think that definitely has a part of the issue. Especially you have these newer, these big SUVs, the hood and the roof are flat,
Right.
right? So you have the sun beating on them all day. You have the heat coming from the engine bay. A lot of people that have these vehicles, they're going through drive-through car washes that are abrading the surface. Drive-through brush washes is the worst thing you can do for your vehicle.
That's where all those swirls come from.
That's where the swirls come from, bar none. Stop going through brush car washes. Listen, I understand. I have a wife and kids. I have a business. Sometimes you just need your vehicle washed. Stop going through brush washes. A touchless wash, if you have to here and there, okay.
It's better than nothing, and at least it doesn't
it's better than nothing,
touch your
right?
car. It doesn't
So
work
you've
in my
got-
Mini because my Mini's too short. So the machine, I can either like get it to clean the front of my car, or I can get it to clean the back of my car. But it can't adjust for just how short my car is. So if I do go through one, I pull up and I watch it, and it's coming around the side of my car, and then I put it in reverse and I actually drive the car backwards a little bit so that it goes around, and then it can get the back of my car. But yeah, it's just not ideal.
So you have so many things working against you, with these vehicles. Again, the color, the size of the vehicle, going through brush washes. And if you're not putting at least a wax or sealant on that vehicle multiple times a year to protect from the sun. And so all those problems equate to early clear coat failure. And I see it constantly. I get at least 3 to 4 inquiries about GM black paint and failing, at least 3 to 4 a month.
Well, hey, this is why you have a successful business. Car manufacturers are keeping you and all the other good detailers out there plenty busy.
And once clear coat failure has started, we cannot stop it. There's no magic wipe on clear, contrary to what you see on TikTok, that will fix this. The best cosmetic fix that we can offer is gloss black paint protection film, or you can go with gloss black vinyl. The gloss black paint protection film is going to look more like the finish and gives you more protection compared to a vinyl. Otherwise, the only other proper fix is going to a body shop and having those panels repainted.
And that also lowers the value of your car because now the car has been repainted. And so anybody you're selling it to, at least that knows how to look at cars, thinks it has been in an accident and then it's been repainted due to needing repairs. So yeah, it sounds like you can't really win unless you just kind of start, like if you buy a new one, go directly from the dealership to your good detail shop and have all of the things put on it to protect that paint as best you can. But hey, at least it has paint on it. So last episode, I spent a good amount of time commenting, shall we say, colorfully on the Cybertrucks. That's just bare stainless steel. Like, what can you even do to one of those? There's no paint. There's no clear coat. There's no nothing. It's bare metal. Brilliant idea.
You mean my refrigerator on wheels that holds my beer?
No, I don't think it's that cool. It's more like your dumpster on wheels.
Well, I've seen that meme.
Is there anything that you can do? I mean, assuming that you do get one of these, I know a lot of people do have them wrapped,
Yes.
and
And
I'm sure that's to protect it and also to give them some sort of
yeah,
individuality. But
that's the most common thing most of your Cybertruck guys are going to do is either wrap it in vinyl or, we have colored paint protection film, which is newer technology, which looks really awesome as well. If you want to protect that finish, those are your two options, honestly. That bare metal is porous.
right.
So a ceramic coating is not going to properly adhere and last on that surface. Any detail that's telling you otherwise, run far away.
Well, that's actually a good question because unfortunately, not everybody who listens to this podcast lives in the greater Charlotte area and can bring their car to you. What do they need to look for to find a good detailer that can install these products for them on their car in their area?
I think the biggest thing is just to speak with them, and especially if you can speak in person. I really encourage people to come to the shop, check out the shop, and talk with me. In my opinion, you're doing business with that person, right? And for me, I want to build a long-term relationship with my clients. So speak to them. Are they trying to be pushy? Are they trying to hear your concerns? Are they open and willing to give you references from other clients to be able to speak to and maybe, check out their reviews and be really wary because a lot of people nowadays, because Google reviews are such a huge part of
Of course.
showing up, right, in search history. And a lot of guys are really, they're offering discounts and that. But just, don't be afraid to look at the reviews and speak with them and really gauge how confident they are in what they're doing and what their process really is. Don't be afraid to speak to more than one detailer,
Oh,
to be
absolutely. You
honest with
should
you. Yeah,
definitely
absolutely. Yeah.
shop around and going to the shop, taking that time will also, you can very often see how they're working and see examples of other cars that they have just recently done that maybe the customer hasn't picked up yet. And you can actually take a look at their work to see what it looks like.
Absolutely. You're doing business with a person, not a price. Obviously, you've got a lot of price shoppers out there, and that's totally fine. But if you're looking to build a relationship, don't be afraid to show up. Now, call and make sure it's okay to show up, right? Now, you've got a lot
Don't
of
just
shops that
show
are
up
really
on their
busy.
doorstep.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I'm a one-man show, so I require an appointment to come see me so that because I'm working on other clients' cars. So don't be afraid to call ahead, make sure it's okay to stop by. And then also nowadays, man, we have this amazing thing called social media. There's Facebook groups and there's forums and that. A lot of people that are car oriented, there's groups specifically for those vehicles. Don't be afraid to get in those groups and ask for recommendations as well.
Yeah, especially from people who are into car shows and showing their cars. Obviously, they want their car looking absolutely as perfect as it possibly can so they can win their awards. So they're going to be good resources for recommending, who's a good detailer, who can make your car look that showroom quality, and who can't.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big believer. I'm shop based for a reason. If you're looking for this type of high end work, ceramic coatings and PPF, you want a really nice shop. You want to have a nice shop to do that type of work, not some guy in your driveway.
No, that washing my car in my driveway, that's perfectly fine, but you do not want any of these things applied in a non-pristine environment where they don't have all of their tools, all their equipment. So 100%. Well,
Definitely.
thank you so much for joining me, Swirl Killer. I love that moniker there, and it's so appropriate because I have seen your work, and it's freaking amazing. So how
I
can people
appreciate it.
get a hold of you?
Man, reach out to me I'm on Facebook at Carolina's Finest Detailing, Instagram, Carolina's Finest Detailing, or check out my YouTube channel, Carolina's Finest Detailing. I am working on putting out a lot of educational videos for people because once you spend this money to have your vehicle protected, it's really great to have a resource to go back and look at, okay, now that I've done this, how do I maintain that? And that's what I'm aiming at with some of these newer videos I'm releasing. And I love educating people. So don't feel like your question is stupid. The only stupid question is not asking. If you're looking to, if you have questions about film or coding or products, please reach out to me.
I'm going to put a link to John's website, Carolina's Finest Detailing, in the description as well. Definitely check out his educational videos if you want to learn how to keep your car looking great and protect it so that it holds its value and it's something that you're going to be proud to take your coworkers or your clients out in. I don't think they're going to want to get in mine right now. Maggie is a little dirty, I have to admit. Yeah, I
Tisk
got to get on
tisk.
that. Tisk tisk. I know. Well, thanks everybody for joining me on the Straight Shift. Until next time, drive safely. We're out of here.